Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star is not really your undefeatable, stupidity-powerful hero that goes around kicking people's butts like it's nobody's business. And yet, he is one of the most well-liked and OP heroes in the manga and anime community. Why? Well, he is one of the most relatable of the heroes, and one cannot help but sympathize with his emotions of grief, loss, and comeback. Having said that, I don't mean to underestimate his fighting skills or sheer might. As a master of an insane 2 millennia-old martial arts form designed for assassination, Kenshiro is a walking weapon of the First Order. In this video, we will explore Kenshiro, the man with the 7 scars, and explore his manga origin and his journey through the manga, the TV show, and the movie. Without further ado, let's begin. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. 1. Exploring Kenshiro's origin. Kenshiro, the central protagonist of the renowned manga series, was brought to life through the creative collaboration of Tetsuo Hara and Baronson. This post-apocalyptic tale, set in a world ravaged by nuclear devastation, follows Kenshiro's journey as the rightful heir to the ancient martial arts style known as Hokuto Shinken, aptly described as a fusion of martial artist and actor Bruce Lee, along with influences from the legendary Japanese actor Yusaka Matsuda. In the gritty Mad Max film series, Kenshiro's character design and persona have a fine blend of power, skill, and charisma.
Lie.
Zito, you're already a dead man.
What?
In fact, his catchphrase, "You're already dead," has more meaning than one would know. Kenshiro is so skilled that after he's done with his enemy, they have about 10 seconds to live before parts of their bodies explode. So, Kenshiro gives them just enough time to understand the perilous fate they are about to experience. That's dark. Anyway, Hokuto Shinken, the martial art style entrusted to Kenshiro, gives him the ability to neutralize adversaries through the mastery of concealed meridian points within the human body. Armed with this lethal technique which can basically stop the heart through a strike at your forehead or just any other pressure point, Kenshiro takes on various ruffians endangering the lives of survivors in the post-apocalyptic wasteland. But of course, he also confronts rival martial artists, including his 3 honorary brothers, all of whom are well versed in the art of Hokuto Shinken, albeit their techniques may slightly differ from each other. So, Tetsuo Hara has always been quite a fervent admirer of Bruce Lee, and a connoisseur of action manga and Japanese action cinema. And the way he amalgamated the attributes and visual appeal of Bruce Lee and Yusaka Matsuda to fashion the iconic figure of Kenshiro is nothing short of artful. Throughout the original manga's narrative, Kenshiro's exploits immerse readers as he strives to bring justice and hope to a desolate world, solidifying his status as an enduring character who has stood the test of time. In the early stages of development, Tetsuo Hara depicted Kenshiro as a spirited teenager engaged in fierce confrontations with a rival martial arts school called Taizanji Kenpo, and the story was set in Japan in the 1980s. Referred to as Kenshiro Kasumi in this 2-part prototype version of Hokuto no Ken. Here, he was the 23rd successor of Hokuto Shinken. This treasured martial art had been passed down through generations, with Kenshiro's unnamed father learning from the esteemed 21st successor, Master Liu Zhang. Unlike the stoic and battle-hardened Kenshiro featured in the serialized manga, this earlier version of the character was rather cheerful and was yet to encounter the formidable hardships that awaited him. Furthermore, another difference was the absence of the iconic 7 scars that would later become synonymous with him. The tale takes an unexpected turn when Kenshiro's beloved girlfriend, Yuki, falls victim to a tragic murder, and circumstances conspire to frame Kenshiro for his own tragic loss. Faced with a perilous predicament, he becomes a wanted fugitive, embarking on a mission to dismantle the powerful Taizanji organization and seek justice for his lost love. However, as Hokuto no Ken transitioned into its weekly serialized format, Baronson, the mind behind the storyline, took creative liberties to revise Kenshiro's character. We can trace Kenshiro's origin back to his humble beginnings as an orphan hailing from Taisiden Shura and carrying the illustrious bloodline of Hokuto Soki. As a baby, he was sent to the mainland under the care of Jukai, only to be adopted by Ryuken, the very master of Hokuto Shinken. He was formerly called Kenshiro, which was a tribute to his older brother Kenshiro Kasumi, as they both bore the distinctive Big Dipper-shaped birthmark on their forehead. Interestingly enough, a few versions of the manga's title translate to Fist of the Big Dipper, a constellation that doesn't even contain the North Star. I am glad that they went with Fist of the North Star because, come on, Big Dipper doesn't have a nice ring to it. Anyway, growing up under Ryuken's guidance, Kenshiro observed his adoptive brothers diligently training in the ways of Hokuto Shinken, and this sight ignited a deep determination within him to join their ranks and vie for the honor of becoming Ryuken's rightful successor. Despite his relative youth and naivety compared to his older siblings, Kenshiro showed remarkable potential and promise as a student and throughout his training. His dedication and unwavering commitment to mastering the art finally bore fruit, and he gained the coveted title of the successor of Hokuto Shinken. Subsequently, Kenshiro embarked on a journey that would shape the fate of the post-apocalyptic world in Fist of the North Star. 2. From Tragedy to Triumph, the story of Kenshiro. In the aftermath of the devastating nuclear war and the passing of his mentor Ryuken, Kenshiro's life takes a dramatic turn in the manga and TV series, with his beloved fiancée, Yuria, by his side. Kenshiro embarks on a quest to find hope and a future amidst the harsh realities of the post-apocalyptic world. However, their aspirations are shattered when they encounter Shin, a rival from the Nanto Koshu Kin School. In a brutal confrontation, Kenshiro is defeated and marked with his iconic 7 scars, while Yuria is abducted by Shin. Undeterred by the loss, and maybe even motivated by it, Kenshiro emerges from the ordeal with a newfound resolve for vengeance. Over the next year, he roams the desolate wasteland, honing his combat skills and developing a lethal instinct necessary for survival in this war-torn land. Along the way, he forges meaningful bonds with 2 young orphans, Bat and Lin, who accompany him on his journey. Kenshiro's quest leads him to the revelation that Shin has assumed the moniker of King, and now heads the King organization. To confront his nemesis and reclaim Yuria, Kenshiro first takes on Shin's 4 generals, also known as the 4 Jacks, in the anime adaptation. With his newfound strength and resolve, Kenshiro breaches the fortified city of Southern Cross, Shin's capital, for a final showdown. Despite a valiant battle, Kenshiro emerges victorious, defeating Shin. However, the long-sought reunion with Yuria remains out of reach, as Shin reveals that Yuria had taken her own life to prevent Shin's ambitions from flourishing. Determined to escape the fate of death by Kenshiro's technique, Shin meets his end by leaping from his palace balcony, which was the same fate Yuria had chosen before him. So, that was some kind of poetic justice, I believe. Soon, Kenshiro finds himself grappling with the burden of the Hokuto Shinken curse, compelling him to avoid settling in any one place for long. Even if he decided to settle down, chaos invariably followed him, so he did what a hero does best. He vowed to protect the weak and innocent, and set out on a mission to vanquish those who preyed upon the vulnerable. And it wasn't before long that he earned a reputation as a savior among the people. In the course of his adventures, Kenshiro learned something crucial. His 3 elder brothers and fellow practitioners of Hokuto Shinken, namely Jagi, Toki, and Rao, have all miraculously survived the nuclear holocaust. Jagi, harboring a deep-seated hatred towards Kenshiro, had been committing atrocious acts under Kenshiro's name. It was revealed that it was he who manipulated Shin into abducting Yuria, which ended in her demise. When Kenshiro finally confronts Jagi, the 2 of them engage in a duel, and Jagi ultimately died, which seemed like an almost justified punishment. Further challenges arise as Kenshiro faces his 2nd eldest brother Toki, who had succumbed to madness in the aftermath of the apocalypse. Unbeknownst to Kenshiro, the person claiming to be Toki was actually Amoeba, a jealous rival who had assumed Toki's identity. Meanwhile, the real Toki languished in captivity at Cassandra, the great prison established by Rao, the eldest brother who now assumed the title Kin-O, aiming to establish a global order through nothing but force. Yet, with the support of allies Ri and Mamaya, Kenshiro infiltrates the nearly impenetrable prison, leading to a heartwarming reunion with the real Toki. In fact, Toki becomes a valuable ally in Kenshiro's pursuit of righteousness. Later, he forms an alliance with Shu, the leader of a guerrilla group engaged in resistance against Souther, who is the holy emperor and master of Nanto Huken. Souther's tyrannical rule included the enslavement of innocent children, who were forced into labor to construct his empire. In an intense confrontation, Kenshiro's vital point attacks proved futile against Souther's invulnerable body, leading to a near-fatal defeat. However, his life is miraculously saved by the selfless sacrifice of Shu's son, Shiva. But in a tragic turn of events, Souther mercilessly executes Shu atop the Holy Pyramid. When Kenshiro faces Souther again, he uncovers the secret to his adversary's unnatural resilience. The position of Souther's heart and vital points have been reversed. Despite Souther's villainous past, Kenshiro finds compassion and uses a rather merciful technique to put an end to the Holy Emperor's reign. As the time for the climactic confrontation with Rao arrived, a mysterious figure known as the last Nanto general emerged to challenge Rao's reign, revealing her true identity as Yuria, Kenshiro's betrothed. She had been saved by the Nanto Goshisai after an attempted suicide at Shin's palace. To safeguard her from Rao, her survival was concealed. Kenshiro engages in a fateful battle with Rao, and uses the ultimate Hokuto Shinken technique called the Musou Tensei, which taps into his profound sadness to unnerve his brother. However, Rao kidnaps Yuria during his escape, threatening her life to gain the same power. In their final showdown, Rao kills Yuria to unlock Musou Tensei. Kenshiro's profound understanding of life and death grants him the upper hand, something that Rao never had, and it allowed Kenshiro to emerge victorious. Interestingly, Yuria awakens after the battle, revealing that Rao had induced a false state of death to conceal her terminal illness. Following Rao's demise, Kenshiro spends his following years in peaceful harmony with Yuria, whose affliction gradually subdued. So that was his story from the source material and the TV series. But about the 1986 film? Does the film take some creative liberties? Let's find out. The film is also set in the 90s, and whatever is left of humanity is trying to survive with the little that they have. Since people were afraid of what was happening, they thought the only way to alleviate their fear was through gaining power. But money and jewels were not important anymore. All that people looked for was food to eat and fresh water to drink. You see, the world was largely left bereft of any fertile land, and there was little to no vegetation in the barren land. Naturally, the strong preyed on the weak for anything that could help in the sustenance of life. We are introduced to Kenshiro and his fiancée, Yuria. Both of them wish to live a peaceful life together and do not want anything else. In fact, Yuria's dream is to turn the earth back to its lush green form and carries a bag of seeds to plant them. But tragedy strikes as Shin appears and demands Yuria to come with him. He claims that he loves Yuria more than anyone ever could, and that he was best suited for her as he was strong enough to take care of her and protect her from the many vicious forces that plague their post-apocalyptic and dystopian world. Was he correct? Well, at least in part. When Yuria refused to come with Shin, he engaged in a battle with Kenshiro, slicing him in various parts of his body. Blood gushed out of Kenshiro as Yuria watched in horror. But Yuria's love for Kenshiro was strong, and she wouldn't just give herself up to Shin, a man who was determined to kill her fiancé. But Shin was a ruthless piece of shit, and he once again attacked Shin, giving him his famous 7 wound. It is revealed that Shin used to be friends with Kenshiro as a child, and the two of them shared a bond. However, Shin became the Fist of the South Star, and the title made him abound with pride. He started believing that whatever he wanted had to become his, no matter the cost, no matter the odds. Nevertheless, when Yuria saw that Shin would actually kill Kenshiro if she didn't do what the former asked, she agreed to go with him. Shin left Kenshiro to die in the scorching wasteland and left with Yuria. Next thing we know, Jaggi threw Ken into a cavern measureless to man. Jaggi had always hated his brother in training, and this was his final act of revenge. Rao, Ken's eldest brother in training, goes to their master, Ryuken, and demands that he should be named the next Fist of the North Star, now that Ken was dead. But Ryuken denies it, and Rao challenges the decision and kills his former master, only to proclaim that he would not just become the master of the ancient martial art form, but the master of Earth itself. But Ken had survived, and his path takes him on a journey to protect the weak and innocent, which is how he comes across Bat and Lin. The story then divulges a bit from the source material, and we see Ken meeting Ri, another Nanto Saiken master, who was looking for his sister named Eri, who had apparently been kidnapped by the Fist of the North Star. That was more or less the first act of the movie. Ken learns that the person who had kidnapped Ri's sister was none other than Jaggi, who had been impersonating Ken. Naturally, Ken and Ri go to Jaggi's hideout. The man had brainwashed Eri into believing that she was a slave, and he was her master. Ken successfully defeats Jaggi in a duel, and let's be honest, this vicious man was no match for Ken's sheer willpower, let alone his skills and might. Even here, Jaggi reveals that it was he who forced Shin to betray his childhood friend and take Yuria. But the only good thing that came out of Ken's encounter with Jaggi was that he got to know that Yuria had been taken to Shin's castle in Southern Cross. Oh, and they saved Yuria. While Ken started his journey towards Southern Cross, we learn that Rao also travels Southern Cross along with his entire army. Although Yuria lives in Shin's castle as his queen and has all the luxuries in the world, she does not reciprocate to any of his advances. Yuri rejects Shin in every way possible and longs to reunite with Ken, who she still hopes is not dead. And when she overhears a conversation between Shin and one of his men about the recent death of Jaggi at the hands of Ken, Yuria's heart fills with joy, and she tries to leave Shin's castle immediately. She dons the clothes in which Shin had brought her with him after abducting her, and tries to sneak away before anyone could find her. Unfortunately for her, Rao finds her and abducts her. Yes, Yuria manages to get abducted a second time. By now, Rao's army had desecrated Shin's city, but he was still alive. Ken also reaches the city and confronts Shin, but the Fist of the North Star was far more skilled and powerful for Shin to defeat, and Ken kills Shin. But just before dying, Shin reveals the whereabouts of Rao and the place where he had taken Yuria. It was called Cassandra, the city of Wailing Demon, a sunless place where nothing grew apart from despair and fear for King Rao. While Ken starts his perilous journey towards Cassandra, Ri and the two kids, Bat and Lin, reach Cassandra. They witness the sheer might of Rao's army firsthand, and it becomes clear that Ken was in for a tough fight. Incidentally, Lin also sees a young, beautiful woman being taken away by Rao's men, and she immediately deduces that the woman was Yuria. Later that night, the kids break into Rao's dungeons and meet with Yuria. She was in a sorry state, full of despair because she knew that Rao had abducted her so that he could get his hands on Ken, the only one who had the skills to oppose Rao's rule, and boy, he was right. In the riveting climax of Fist of the North Star, the long-awaited showdown between Kenshiro and his formidable elder brother Rao erupts in a cataclysmic display of power, unleashing their full fighting auras. The intense battle engulfs the entirety of Cassandra, reducing much of it to rubble. Both combatants sustain significant injuries as they push their limits to the brink. As the duel reaches its zenith, Rao seizes an opportunity to incapacitate Kenshiro, leaving him unconscious. Rao was bent on delivering a final blow to end his younger brother's life. However, Lin intervenes, imploring Rao to spare Kenshiro's life. Moved by Lin's plea, Rao acquiesces and chooses to forgo the fight, at least for now. With the clash of titans temporarily halted, Rao leaves, leaving Kenshiro in the care of Lin and Bat. Ken heals from his wounds because of Lin's care and his own strength, and he resumes his relentless search for Yuria, his beloved fiancée, who vanished under mysterious circumstances during the final moments of the battle. 3. What martial art is Fist of the North Star based on? What Fist of the North Star features is basically a fictional martial art known as Hokuto Shinken, which is not based on any real-world martial art. I mean, it does take the concept of using pressure points or meridian points to alleviate pain, and simply turns it into a much deadlier version used for assassination. So, there's no real-world basis behind the art form. This deadly art combines the concept of pressure points from traditional Asian art, but takes it to an infinitely more lethal level. According to the series, Hokuto Shinken was bestowed upon the Hokuto clan by the gods around 1800 years ago during the late Eastern Han Dynasty in China. Hokuto Shinken is said to be born during the rise of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, a time of turmoil and chaos in China. The founder, Shuken, blended his ancestors' Hokuto Soke no Ken and the Uezi people's martial art, Seito Gekken, to create this powerful assassination art. The art revolves around striking the 708 Karaku Hiko, or pressure point, in the human body. These pressure points can cause enemies to explode, be controlled involuntarily, or become incapacitated. Hokuto Shinken can also be used for healing certain physical and psychological wounds. For instance, Ken healed Eri from her memory loss and acute brainwashing at the hands of Jaggi. Precise accuracy and strength are required to trigger the desired effects. Hokuto Shinken incorporates both soft and hard aspects, focusing on accuracy, fluidity, and directness for soft techniques and strength, form, and force for hard techniques. Notably, the true strength of Hokuto Shinken lies in the power of love. The art derives its ultimate power from the emotions of love, fostered through true loss and sorrow, and the understanding and acceptance of this emotion refine its techniques. Having said that, Hokuto Shinken is a curious martial art. Marvelous verdict. To sum up, in Fist of the North Star, Kenshiro is the protagonist of the manga and anime series. Created by Tetsuo Hara and Baronson, he is a skilled practitioner of the fictional martial art Hokuto Shinken, which revolves around manipulating pressure points in the human body to devastating effect. Kenshiro's journey takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, where he seeks revenge against those who prey on the weak and innocent. Along the way, he discovers that his 3 elder brothers, Jaggi, Toki, and Rao, all survived the nuclear holocaust and possess their own martial skills. In a series of epic battles, Kenshiro confronts and defeats them, bringing an end to their malevolence. Ultimately, Kenshiro emerges as a legendary figure celebrated as a savior among the people for his valiant efforts in protecting the innocent and bringing hope to the desolate world. His journey embodies themes of love, brotherhood, and redemption, making him a captivating and enduring character in the truly interesting world of Fist of the North Star. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.